Lads, ladies, gents, ladetts, whoever, whatever, welcome back to another video. Today we're covering the demo for an upcoming puzzle action platformer called Relooted, a game about reclaiming real African artifacts that have been held by Western museums, which is a polite way of saying the British Museum. Now, before continuing, I know this game has had some controversy surrounding it for whatever reason. However, it is a video game and ultimately I am here to review the demo. So let's talk about the game itself, and only the game itself, and judge it on its merits as such. Moving on from that though, let's jump into the game. I've already mentioned the basic premise, but our goal is to reclaim the stolen artifacts from a range of different locations. However, it is more than just a treasure hunt, as you have to plan out how you're going to get these artifacts back, avoiding traps, alarms, enemies, and in my case, my own stupidity, as you plan out the best route possible in order to collect everything and get out of there before getting captured. I can say confidently, after playing this demo, I am very excited for the full release, as this gameplay loop is incredibly addictive. Effectively, this game takes places in 3 stages. You have a hub area where you'll talk to characters, learn about their motives, and more about what's happening in this futuristic world that you're living in. We also get our missions given to us here. However, it's more than just go find X item, as you'll learn a little bit about the history behind what you're hunting for, along with other possible artifacts that you might be able to recover. After accepting a mission, we move into the second phase, which is the planning phase. Here, we get to scout the map and see its layout, along with find the main artifacts that we're looking for. We can also place our allies in specific locations, if they happen to have a limit on how many spots they can be at, allowing for you to figure out what is best for you. Now, this does mean there can be a little bit of trial and error, but that's half the fun of it. Also, if you're paying attention, you can find useful items like desks or safes that can be helpful when dealing with shuttered doors or buttons after you've triggered an alarm. Once you're done planning though, it's time for you to get into the final phase, the heist. This is where the core gameplay mechanics are really going to shine. Being a 2D action platformer, you would hope the game's movement is fluid, and boy is it ever. The game's tutorial does a good job of showing you how everything will work in motion, and it applies directly to the heists themselves. You have about every movement option you could want outside of being able to fly. From free running, that if you time a button input correctly you're awarded with an extra speed boost, wall jumps, zip lining, swinging, sliding, you really can't ask for much more. The inputs are also tight and responsive, allowing for you to absolutely fly through these levels. Now granted, the gameplay you're seeing might be a bit clunky, but that's not the game, that's me. I'm just bad at video games. Player more so than just reward you with being okay with its mechanics. Now the heists are basically nothing more than go to point A, B or C where these items are and then collecting them. But that's where that planning phase really starts to shine itself, because you need to avoid those alarms and those shuttered doors from trapping you in and ultimately making you fail. Visually, the game has a very unique art style, being a lot more cartoony in nature. However, a lot of the little details are representative of different African cultures. This is also shown through the variety of the admittedly limited crew members that we get to meet throughout the demo, as they're clearly from different countries within the continent of Africa. The game's music is a major highlight for me. Not only does it represent traditional instruments and vocals from around Africa, it also captures a sense of suspense that I absolutely would expect from a heist game. It drives the action where needed, and honestly, it is a major standout. If I did have to criticize anything, sadly, I would say the voice acting can come off a little bit stiff. The quality of the recordings is great along with the mixing, but I would say it's either the first time some of these people are doing voiceover work or the direction is a tiny bit off. It's hard to fully put into words, but there are just moments where it doesn't seem to flow naturally, and the dialogue starts to feel a bit stop-starty in places. It's not that the voices are the issue, just the flow, if that makes sense. What is arguably the biggest plus for me is the history that's shared within this game. If you look at the artifacts that you've recovered, you'll get a small snippet about when it was found and where it originally came from. It essentially is a digital museum that allows you to learn a little bit about the history of Africa. I wouldn't say I would use it as the only way to learn about that history, but it's a good place to get interested in it. And at the end of the day, I think we should all be interested in history, because it's pretty damn neat. The only real issue I had with my time with this demo is the fact that it's only got one heist. I get they don't want to give too much away, especially with the unfolding story of characters like Trevor being in debt with the collectors after him, and how it's going to impact the crew and the overall story, but I think maybe one more heist would have just really helped flesh this demo out a little bit more. Overall, I'm excited for the full release. I don't expect it to be some 10 out of 10 perfect game, as there are definitely some rough edges that you will notice while playing the demo, but at its core, Relooted has something special. The way it got my adrenaline rushing while I triggered all the alarms and was running for my life at the end of the heist was just phenomenal. I haven't been that engaged in a game for a while. And honestly, if you're a big fan of action platformers and you like a little bit of puzzle/planning elements, Relooted is definitely worth checking out. So with that, lads, ladies, gents, ladetts, whoever, whatever, it brings us to the end of the demo for Relooted. I hope you enjoyed this video, and honestly, I do hope you check out the demo. Please don't let the controversies get in the way of enjoying a good video game, because at the end of the day, that's what these things are. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to go that extra step, you can hit the subscribe button, and if you want to go that extra mile, you can support me on Ko-fi, YouTube memberships, or Patreon, like these lovely people here. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye.